And welcome back, the Kevin Hall Show program. We got you all caught up on things that
you're right on it, Kev.
That matter. Yes, and of course, trying to continue to stay engaged. Stand by.
2 temperature standing.
What's on your mind, sir? And let me just say, I mean, what have we seen that says that the people who would make this decision are so convinced that this new thing is going to be so much more superior?
You speak highly of the children, and that's the most important thing.
He's co-host of the Kevin Hall Show program. Henry Hank Green. Good evening, Hank.
Good evening, Kev.
And in the producer's booth, we have Nick Wargo. Good evening, Nick. And
What's up, guys?
I'm a little down, and we'll be talking about why. I might be down because of something that people might not really think one would be down about initially, but we'll talk about that as well. 927-1100 is the number to call if there's something that's on your mind today. The city of Atlantic City passed out notifications of layoff notices, I guess. I really don't know if that's what you call these things. I just know that we have a list that was provided by my union. I'm a member of the Atlantic City White Collar Union on their executive board, Sergeant at Arms. And it identifies many of the people who are slated to potentially be laid off. I believe a week from today, Friday, we'll get the civil service list as it relates to these names for all the various other headaches that are bound to come now. Bumping rights, they call it, and all that sort of thing. But as I look through this, I hearken back to the timing of it all. It just seems like we are not giving even those people for whom there is an argument they will be able to fill the vacuum. The void is supposed to be filled through the just about demolition of the recreation department. That void is going to be filled by nonprofit organizations, we understand. That's just the rumor, and that's all I'm talking to you about. But there have been no demonstrations, if you will, of the abilities of any of these so-called 501c3s to address the various issues and programs. And let me just say, for those people who might have been deluded into thinking there were not programs in recreation, there were numerous programs and plans to expand programs. But there was such a pall over the operation of that particular department, or division, if you will, that it made it impossible to focus on the development of new programs, the tightening of some when there's a little ambiguity as to whether or not people will have jobs. It has been a rough few months and maybe even years. But now, to see that virtually all of these people will be laid off makes one wonder who has done the investigation to know that these jobs will be able to be filled by these people inside of these organizations, and the costs that are associated with, you know, the agreements that I assume the city will have with these various organizations to do these things. Have they been analyzed to be a savings? I saw that the recreation department in the city of Atlantic City costs $2.8 million. Pittance. Pittance. I'm just hoping that they don't realize that in a bad way during the summer. Children without camps and teenagers without jobs. Potentially. Oh, I'm sure they're going to try to sell us. And now their credibility, since they said we would not be dealing with exactly what we are dealing with, many people in this local government, administration and council. But now we are dealing with a situation where we have to now adjust. And that adjustment is leaving open many, many questions. And I just wanted to put a few out there.
Well, Kevin, you hit on many different topics, many points. And I guess one of the most critical ones are the timing. This time of year, when we need our children the most, when they're going to be out and have less to do, what exactly kind of services do they plan to have in place? Now, they're saying they're not laying folks off right away, but sometime during the summer, folks will be laid off. And at that point, what type of programs or plan do they have in place that will replace what's going on, replace what we have now, and how will that be effective and better, and who's going to pay for it? How is that going to happen? How are these nonprofits, or what nonprofits? Someone that should have at least came and talked to the people in these recreation departments and explained to them how we were going to proceed after they shut down this department. What do we have set in place next, and to fulfill these roles that we need in our community to keep our children safe, to keep them occupied, and things for them to do. I understand that they want to do different things, but what is the plan? There has been many different plans that this administration has been trying to do since they've started, and from my knowledge, none of them worked yet.
And you're right, and quite frankly, even if there are examples of some kind of limited success, it still has not been proven in the long term. We are talking about, especially in the case of recreation, a division that has been around for 70 years at least, and have such notable people who have been at the helm of recreation, molding many people, including several of the members on that city council.
Again, Kevin, we place value on certain aspects of City Hall and what they should pay for and what the value of it is, and apparently the value of our children and the value of our community is not worth the same value of the importance of other things that they choose to pay for.
And that is until all of a sudden it is. And unfortunately, we are talking about incidents that may or may not reflect badly on the community, because there is so much idle time and people feeling as if they are being dismissed by folks while other people are eating.
And if you look at that list, Kevin, you will notice that most of that list are minorities and women.
That's right.
And that's excluding the fire department.
927-1100 is the number to call. We have a call from Jenny Darnell. Jenny is the president of the White Collar Union for the City of Atlantic City. Good evening, Jenny, and welcome to the Kevin Hall Show program.
Hey, Kevin. How you doing?
Doing just fine, ma'am. Had to be a crazy type of day for you. What's going on?
We're just trying to digest all of what's going to happen in the next coming months.
I mean, is there anything that can be done to change the mind of the administration? I mean, we have already done a few things, but I mean, are they even saying that there is something that could be done that would stave this off?
Well, I mean, the mayor did say it's a fluid process. I'm not really sure what that means, but, when you go to lay off a whole department, I can't see any fluid movement in that. That seems kind of, dead end. It just is not really good.
What?
And like you were saying earlier in your show, a lot of people grew up in recreation. I grew up going to recreation at Chelsea Heights and Brighton Avenue School, and I remember Mary Gunson Howard, who they called Big Mare, and Sue Kramer. And there's a relationship with the kids and the recreation workers. And it's really going to be sorely missed.
And that's really why I'm hoping that there is going to be something that can be done to make this just a horrible nightmare. Because you have to remember that they are doing this with the pristineness of the circumstances right now, in the status quo. But all we need is just one incident, Jenny, and all of a sudden we could be looking at a whole different set of priorities. And I'm wondering why no one is giving any thought to that.
I think they're just looking at their budget and they're looking at the quickest way to cut something, and it might not be the most practical thing to cut.
Yeah, I'm telling you that. We are only talking about $2.8 million for all of recreation, and the potential damage to the children and to these teens. It just seems like that's just a very small price to pay to at least. And I want to have recreation forever, but you're talking about stopping this thing right at the precipice of us having our summer season.
Yes, and that's very important.
It's not like they cut, 10 jobs or 20 jobs.
Yes.
They really cut every job in recreation.
Based on our roster, it's going to be only 3 people in recreation out of 52.
It might not be the 3 people that you think it's going to be, with bumping and layoffs and lateral title rights.
Yeah.
Jenny, did they say that they have a plan for replacing recreation and what they would do in place of recreation?
They said nonprofits are going to come in with specialized programs, but what they don't realize is that
Sounds like a
the
generic answer.
recreation programs, they might believe that the children could be doing more, but when you go into those buildings, those kids that are there, this recreation sites in the schools, they're safe havens.
Mm-hmm.
They're places where kids can go to be off the street.
And
I just don't know what's going to happen this summer. It's bad enough, in the past where we've had the summer youth program where the city has given jobs to our younger residents. That's being cut out. To my knowledge, we used to hire seasonal workers to run the camps at various recreation sites and playgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
That's not happening this summer. A lot of single parents, mostly low-income and minorities, depend on the services that the city provides. And I don't think the residents are aware of exactly what's going to be impacted.
Well, Jenny, do you know why the mayor chose to do this, what he's doing now, instead of doing what the governor had asked him to do and make the cuts that the governor had asked him to make, and chose this particular route instead?
I think the mayor is doing what the governor wants him to do. They want bodies. They don't care which bodies they get as long as bodies go out the door.
But what about the whole idea of the addressing the segment of our budget that takes up 2/3 of our budget, and that is public safety? His suggestion that we have a county police force, which would have reduced significantly the amount of money that the city of Atlantic City would have had to pay, for instance, police officers. Why did we choose to not do that before we started going at the very fabric of our future?
Where the essence of the money is at. And that's not to pit us against the police officers, because like Craig Calloway said, there's so much other money that they're wasting and that they're choosing to spend and give away to lawyers and other and special interest groups, and they're losing. Mm-hmm. It's not like we've won any of these cases against these casinos, any of these tax appeals.
Yes.
We've won nothing, and yet we continue to pay.
I think you're going to see more lawsuits out of this playoff, because in addition to the recreation, there are targeted individuals, and I'll use the word targeted, that are also being laid off, and there's no rhyme and reason. A clerk in construction, they're short staff in construction. So you go after a person, that's personal. Our MIS department is short staffed, yet an employee in that department was targeted for layoff. It's a mixed bag of crazy cuts.
Well,
we have our police aides and police cars being replaced. And I went into City Hall the other day, and a retired police lieutenant is probably making triple what our members are earning working. He's making that in retirement. He was sitting at the desk reading the newspaper, making $15 an hour, taking our member jobs. know, I don't get this tomatoes in the class two.
I,
The PBA wants to fill their ranks with class two officers who are non-union and in my mind scabs working these jobs. You know, I mean, they shouldn't be doing it. But yet they, you know, the city and is allowing this to go on.
and have you really like talked to the head of the PBA to see what his opinion is? I mean, maybe you don't want to share it, but I mean, do you know how they feel?
Well, the head of the PBA retired May 1st. There's a new PBA president. I haven't talked to him yet.
Oh, okay.
I did speak to, you know, an officer who was a state delegate, and I told him how upset we were to see these retired police officers who are making huge pensions coming back and taking white-collar jobs.
And the city called them back. The city called these gentlemen back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's something that they did. They called them.
I was under the impression that they were coming back to get police officers that are in offices down on the street, like the chief's office, for example. He has an officer, a sergeant, and a captain, and 2 clerks in his office.
Wow.
Jenny, have you heard about raises? Also, some folks have been given raises at this time during this time that they're laying folks off.
I have not heard about raises, but I did put in an open request to get copies of the budget back up for salary and wages and any salary changes for the past year.
Okay.
And we will look at this.
Yeah, because some of my sources that there have been some folks that have received raises recently, and the promotions and raises.
And hopefully.
You know, I mean, not taxpayers knowing stuff, but you know, a lot of the members that we're losing are Atlantic City residents and homeowners.
That's right.
You know, I mean, and most of them, like you said, are minorities that are really going to be feeling this in a bad way.
Well, Jenny, we do know that there will be some strategy meetings, and we're hoping to put together a project that many of the unions in Atlantic City can get behind. We'll talk more about that later, but we appreciate you taking some time out to give us the latest on this.
Travis.
Yeah, it's a travesty.
We're going to appeal this to the Civil Service Commission, and we will, you know, do it like we did the last time. We will bring buses to the meeting, and we will, you know, try to get some grassroots into the neighborhoods.
That's what we need.
That's what we need.
Everybody up.
And we'll do that and a whole lot more, Jenny. Hey, thank you. We've got to take a break. Much more of the
Thank you,
Kevin
Jenny.
Hall Show program coming up in just a couple of moments right here on News Talk 1400.
W.O.N.D.